Have you ever thought about moving to Honduras? Would you live better than if you were in the United States or Canada? Just how would your life be like if you moved to this Central American country? Very tasty. Today, you're going to get the story of some guests of mine who now call this Caribbean island their home.
Why not do that full time and relieve all that pressure that I was having there in the States?
Who also have made a new business that we're going to explore.
Our fusion part of it, which is using island ingredients.
Enjoy. Welcome back to Generic Expats. I am delighted to have a fellow expat here to tell us his story and to give us a deep dive into what he's doing here on the island of Roatan here in Honduras. So here we have this gentleman that we're going to be talking to. Let's start by getting his name, how old he is, where he's from, and where he lives now.
Well, my name is Jeff Lunsford. I originally came from Virginia in the United States. I'm 51 years old, and I've been here on the island for going on 5 years now, and been coming here for, it's been over 10 years now.
Let's hear a bit about your history, your background with the island. Why did you come here in the first place?
I came here like a lot of expats did. We came here on a cruise and saw that the island had something special to give, so why not come back for longer trips and longer visits to spend more time on the island in just one day.
How many trips did you actually make out here before you decided to move here?
I was coming out here for well over 50 different trips.
And that was over a span of many years?
Many years, but in the last 6 or 7 years, it just became more repetitive, spending 3 or 4 months here instead of a week, and just kept extending on until I decided to just cut ties with the U.S. and move here.
So let's talk a little bit about why you decided to leave the U.S. You said you're from Virginia. What were the main causes that forced you to come here to Roatan instead of stay in the U.S.?
Well, I found that I had a pretty stressful life with business, family, everything else that was going on in the day-to-day workings in the States. So I would come here for holiday to relax from the stress of the United States that was putting on me and the pressures. So then I felt like, well, why not do that full time and relieve all that pressure that I was having there in the States? So here I am.
From what I understand, you have a business back in the U.S., is that correct?
I still own a business back in the States. I've owned it for over 30 years now, so it's definitely something that I don't plan on releasing too easily.
Is that something that you think is really important when people move over here? Is it good to have a business back home while they come out here?
Yeah, finances are important anywhere you live, so trying to build a lifestyle in a foreign country can be a little bit complicated. So if you're able to continue your resources from the country that you're from and bring those resources here and spend them here, it works out for both parties, both countries, both people, and everybody can live a little bit better lifestyle.
Is that one of the bigger or more important reasons what brought you over here is the cost of living and how you can buy more with the USDs that you earn back home?
Yeah, cost of living is definitely important, but it's more based on the lack of resources that you need here. You change your lifestyle in a way where you're not stacking up Amazon boxes every day at your door. You're living off of what's there is available, so you change the way you live, which I think is more important than maybe what you save on spending, because living on an island can be more expensive than having commodities right there in the States.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So do you think living on this island gives you a better quality of life because you're focusing on the basics of making yourself happy?
Yeah, absolutely. I enjoy waking up every day here, and it's a slower pace. I can work my day as I want, more flexibility. It slows everything down so you can pay attention to what's important around you. And the people here on this island are so just warm and friendly that it gives you that environment. It's not like they're trying to take from you, but they want to give into you and want to support you and make something special.
Another part you mentioned was the basically escaping the consumerist lifestyle. You probably don't see that much here, do you?
No, it's not the consumer lifestyle here, you know. We do have more amenities here now with shipping and everything else, but it's still, the practicality of it is make whatever you have last longer, fix it, keep it going, and you don't really need the resources that you were trying to take and make conveniences back in the States. You really don't need that.
Those are all great points, and I totally agree. I mean, one main reason for me not living in the U.S. is I really like the simple lifestyle that you mentioned as well. Let's move on to a little bit different of a topic, which is where you've been living in the island of Roatan. Where are we now?
We are in Palatili Bight on the east side of the island. It's a little bit quieter lifestyle out here. We don't have as much of the population that is growing on the other side of the island. We still have green space, we still have beauty, we have vistas and everything else that are still available here. Less restaurants and bars and everything else here, but it's definitely a quieter style. It slows it down quite a bit from even the other side of the island.
And that would be kind of in stark contrast to the more popular part of the island, which is West Bay and West End, right?
Yeah, West End is more cosmopolitan, more bars, more amenities as far as activities and filling your day of just the tourism and everything else happens there. We don't have quite the tourism over on this side of the island as they do over there, which that's what I was looking for.
You mentioned that you didn't live only here when you moved over to Roatan, right? You lived in a different part. Was it West Bay?
Yeah, I lived in West Bay. I came here and like most tourists do, they see West Bay, West End as the best beach, the best, all the amenities that are going in tourism. So you gravitate to that place and that's what you're comfortable with. So when I made the move here, I originally went to West Bay, thought that was going to be the end all for me, and I was there. But then it just seemed like it was getting even more populated there with tourism and everything else that when you live here, it's nice to enjoy the island separate from that. So I decided to move out east, and I was considering opening up a restaurant and starting a business here. So I felt like there was a lot of restaurants to compete with over there already. So I felt like doing something different on the east side of the island, and I started making the plan to move and relocate from the west side to the east side.
That's quite an interesting story. I think that makes sense when you go to like the more touristy part of the island. After so much time, you're like, I really kind of want to just get to the more quieter area, meet more of the locals, have a more local pace of life. It seems like faster pace of life there, right?
It does. It's populated, and you get a lot of questions every day from every tourist that's there. How did you make the move? How did you come here? And everything else. And it's just like, I just want to be around people that live here, and that's what they do. They don't ask you those questions every day, and it was kind of nice to have that.
Definitely. I've lived in tourist hubs in, for example, Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, and I absolutely hated being in the tourist spot because every single day, you want this tour, you want this, that. I'm like, I've been here for a year and a half. Like, I've done that tour 10 times with me and my friends. Like, and I'm sure that same thing happened to you, just getting bugged by the people that want to sell you tours and all that, right?
Yeah, every time I go out to the beach in the morning, you get those, all the vendors out there on the beach trying to, offer you everything that you've been, already seen and done. You really didn't need that. We're just trying to live a simple life and live life.
Right. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the property that we're on now, because this is where you live, correct?
That's correct. Came out here. I was looking at land to buy to build a home on, just a smaller home. And then looking for real estate that was probably for rent or something like that I could have opened up a secondary restaurant in. So my partner and I came out here and we went to the farmer's market here one day, and we started looking around at some land and all that stuff, and then we ended up hearing that there was a piece of property up on the hill where there was a lady that wasn't living in the house. She was single and everything else. And it may be available. So we came up here and took a look at the property, and it was too grandiose for what we were looking for as a house. But as we walked around the property, we started trying to talk about we could make this into our restaurant and live at the same property and open up a bed and breakfast here.
Essa fantasia foi sentimento e a fotografia, tudo que ficou foi uma poesia e o eterno amor nessa alma vazia, com tantos passos para não cair. Não há mais nada do que desistir. O tempo se arrastou e levou as chances. Não sobrou mais nada depois da avalanche. Tudo que restou.
So in lieu of having two separate properties, we decided to work out a deal with the property owner here and secure the property, open up the restaurant and the bed and breakfast, and made the move from West Bay to Palatilli Bight, and this is where we are.
Awesome. Really cool story. So was it difficult to do the process of paying for the house? And is it in your name? Is the property and the land in your name? How did that work out?
Yeah, in Honduras, you have a couple different ways you can do things. You can do it as a corporation and buy the property as a corporation, or if you're Honduran, you can buy the property in your name. The best way to do it for me was a business transaction, and stick with the business transaction from that aspect.
Awesome. Well, that's really good to know. That's definitely one of the big questions people have. Like, well, if I do buy property, how do I do it? And is it in my name? And what way is, yeah. So that's very interesting to know. You have this nice building that you've been working on as both your house and your business. Let's talk a little bit more about the activities that brought you to this island. What were the main things that brought you to the island first?
Definitely diving. I have a love for being under the water, the environment, working with the corals and coral restoration and all the different things that I had to provide. And there's this serenity of being under the water. So I decided to come here and become a dive master and go that route.
Did you do your courses here on Roatan?
I did. I did it over in West Bay with Las Rocas. They're basically my second family over there. I love everybody there, and that's who I did my training with.
Awesome. And besides diving, you also do some other water activities, right?
Yeah, I do kiteboarding out at Camp Bay. That was another draw for me. They had a beach, they had good wind coming in, so we were able to do some kiteboarding over there with Chris, and everything else was super fun.
Would you say that the collection of expats that already live here, the group of Americans and Canadians and people from the same area, had an influence on your decision? Because there's some big bars that exist in West Bay and West End that have a pretty big community there, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got Sundowners where everybody, if you're an expat, everybody knows where Sundowners is. And then you got some other local bars that are popping up, and expats that are opening those up. And it's really interesting to see the evolution of that. I remember going to Sundowners when it was just a little speck in the sand, and now it's a two-story building, and live music is great.
Do you think having all these expats around was a kind of a big draw for you because you knew that you could meet people and have like friendships very easily?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that have the similar interest to you that you do. Everybody's got a different story, and everybody has a story here. But we all have the same interest of living a little bit easier lifestyle, liking it a little bit more primitive, and not having the pressures of life as much on you here.
Besides the regular idea of, oh, I live on an island, I'm going to open up a tourism type of business, doing boat tours or doing snorkeling, or you decided to take your passion in a different route, right? What is your main passion that brought you to open this business?
Yeah, I definitely have a passion for culinary. I've been working on it for, over 10 years now. And I've cooked and chefed in many places all over the world, crafting my skill set in the kitchen, and developing a bistronomic style of way of cooking. And it's it's been a real journey, but now it's surely a pleasure for me to take part of that and share it with everybody on this island. We were able to cook food from all over the world, and those people that can't go all the way around the world, they can come here and enjoy the food from all over the world.
So let's get a little bit of the details involving this service and this beautiful spot that offers the table here in Honduras, in Roatan. Now we have a person here that's going to talk about herself and the table in Roatan. So please tell us, what is your name? Where are you from and how old are you?
Hi, I'm Sofia. I have 30 years old and I'm French Honduran.
Since you lived in France, did you ever have a passion related to the service industry there? Culinary arts is really big in France, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's something that came to me in family dinners where you help and serve and just be there for people and food.
The whole environment of eating together in France and parts of Europe are way more intimate than it is in the US. It's kind of a little bit more informal in the US. Let's talk about the table.
We created the table last year at this period as a catering service, and then we kind of find this place and develop a different idea here.
Let's talk a little bit more about the development of the table here. You started with a catering service, was that right, Jeff?
Yeah, we started with the catering service. We were catering to people on holiday, wanting a private chef in their home, and we would do parties, 12, 14 at a time in their rental units. We were doing Christmas parties, Thanksgiving parties, all different types of events like that. So we were doing a lot of catering for those people.
Do you still do the catering service now?
We do the catering service. We have like 6 events planned, I believe, right now on the books for different parties, Christmas parties, things like that.
And do people contact you through a certain type of medium?
I think it's more probably Facebook is probably one of the integral parts there, because they go on the different forums we have here on the island and they find those places.
Okay, so I'll put that down in the description of how to find his Facebook page and where to contact Jeff and Sofia for this type of service if you're interested in that. So besides the catering, you mentioned that you went from catering over to...
So we opened the restaurant where now the clients can come and see us.
So you started in what month was it?
It was November when we started the catering, and then February we opened up the brick and mortar facility local here.
Right, so what you mentioned before about how you found this house, which you could also use for this type of business, was a main part of coming over here, wasn't it?
That's correct. And then having the ability to run a bed and breakfast here too was the secondary part that we said that would be our next phase, which we've already introduced now and are in operation with the bed and breakfast at the table.
Let's talk a little bit about the bed and breakfast. This place is obviously very, very big.
Yes.
It has a lot of space for some extra guests. How many rooms do you have?
4.
E a fotografia, tudo que ficou foi uma poesia e o eterno amor dessa alma vazia.
You have 4 rooms, and what is the average price of each one of these rooms?
It's $100 with the breakfast included.
Okay, so we have breakfast included, and of course there's a lot of space available. Are people allowed to use this middle floor that we walk through?
Yeah, of course. We want them to feel like home. Is because of that we have that big couches and just meet people maybe from the restaurant, but also be there by themselves.
Right, so they can stay in their room, they can come up to cook in the main floor, as well as they can take advantage of your services in the table as well, right?
Yeah, all the rooms have their own verandas. They're able to use the pool. They get the full VIP bar service, restaurant service. We really cater to them, and then we just give them a really good concierge service here for being able to go out and do things on the island and try and steer them in the right way of the best trips that I would want to be on and from our experience.
What is the typical span of time that people will spend when they come here? Do they usually just spend a day, or do they spend up to a week or something?
Typically a week. We find the people that come from the mainland, they usually come for like 4 days. But the people that come from the States or Europe or wherever they're coming will stay more like a week or so.
That sounds about right, because when you're in this spot, I'm sure they don't want to leave at all, do they?
No.
Let's focus more in on the restaurant on the table. From what I understand, you are the chef, correct?
I am the chef, and Sophia helps me with the service and ideas and planning and all that.
So you guys are obviously a great team working together, doing completely different roles, but also working for the objective of satisfying the customer with this unique experience, right? Does your food have a certain type of style to it?
It's a fusion dish, so I've worked in many, many different countries, cooking many, many different things. And so I've taken what my experience has been from that and then put our fusion part of it, which is using island ingredients with the style of cooking that we've found and had all over the world.
With your background as well, one of your passions is also here in the service industry. Did you have a lot of practice in France when you lived there?
Yes, I spent 5 years in Lyon. I don't know if you know Lyon, but it's a gastronomic city. And I work in international restaurants, international cuisine, and just see a lot of things and now put in place my own.
So one of your passions before as well was becoming a business owner, is that right?
Yeah.
You're a partner in this business here. Is it really kind of helping you achieve that goal?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of surprises, but it's something really interesting. You just need to put your alarm on and not be distracted by the environment you have here and work.
Just work hard and see what you can do, right? Let's talk a bit more about your food. You mentioned it's fusion. What are the most popular dishes that the customers have commented, oh, this is great?
We only have one dish that stays on the menu every single week, and that's our cedar plank red snapper that we get locally here. So I spend my days and our days sourcing local fishermen for local fish and the freshest ingredients. But that cedar plank red snapper is definitely the number one choice.
What are the second and third most popular ones?
The tomahawk steak. I got a lot of people that always want the tomahawk steak. But then we also have our vegetarians that come in and they want a special vegetarian dish, so we'll accommodate that as well. So we always have one meat, we have one fish, and we have one vegetable always on the menu. And then if somebody asks for the chef's special, they'll be surprised with what they get for the evening.
You said you accommodate the meat eaters, the vegetarians. Do you also accommodate vegans?
We do, and anybody that's got allergies, if they tell us, because we're a reservation-only business, so when you make your reservation, if you put in an allergy or something that you just cannot stand, just put that in the message there, and I'll make sure, and we'll make sure that we accommodate that need.
It is a reservation only. Is it easiest to make that reservation on the social media platforms you mentioned?
Absolutely. You can go to Facebook or Instagram, and then you can either do it through the messenger or you can do it on the WhatsApp link that's on there and get a hold of us that way.
Let's talk a little bit about the cost to give people an idea of what they'll be spending. What would be the average cost per person when they do a dining experience here?
It's $50 per person.
That's about on average, can be a little less, a little bit more, and that includes a drink or so?
Yeah, our main menu for dinner, it's a 4-course dish with a cocktail, welcome cocktail.
Awesome, that sounds great. That's pretty damn good value for that price as well. I think people won't be disappointed. With what I understand, your cooking skills are pretty upper level stuff, right? So that's fantastic to hear. What kind of groups have come into your restaurant? Do people come here by themselves or in larger groups? How exactly does that work here?
We've had people come by themselves. We've had couples come in here and want something special for their anniversary or their birthday, and we'll put together a special presentation for that. We have, ladies groups come in here and spend most of the day here. We have restaurants that when they have their day closed, they bring all their employees over here and fill the place up with them. So It really varies, and we just kind of sit back and see how it all comes together and be very flexible. We're always flexible with whatever we're doing.
Is there a certain place where most of your customers are from? Are they mostly from the US or Honduras or some certain country or place?
I would say most of them are coming in from the U.S. Yeah, I would say primary. We do have islanders that come here. We do have Hondurans that come from the mainland, but I would say the bulk of it is expats that are coming over.
Are they the expats themselves, or do they bring over some friends and family that visit them perhaps?
Yeah, when their friends and family are here, most of them make a stop at the table while they're here, and they usually either start or finish their trip here at the table.
Do they give you any comments about their experience?
Yeah, they said it's the best meal they had on the island, so that's what we strive to do and everything. We just want everybody to have a good meal and with the best ingredients and the best care I can put into the dish and best service that we can provide each one.
You hear that, guys? Sounds like a good option to me. Well, let's go ahead and get into the experience, right? Let's go!
Welcome to the table.
I am lucky to be accompanied by some very friendly individuals here. I'm not at the table alone. Let's go ahead and get to meet them before we jump into the table experience. What is your name? Where are you from? And how old are you?
Hey guys, I'm Patrice. I'm from Quebec, Canada, 35 years old.
And how long have you been living here in Roatan?
I've been living here for 5 years in the last 9 years.
Okay, and what is your name? How old are you? And where are you from?
Hello, my name is Isaura. I'm from Honduras. I live in Roatan.
How old are you?
30.
You also work here on the island with some business ventures as well. Is that right, Pat?
Yes, I got a business here. It's Roatan Day.
Let's talk a bit about Roatan Day. What services do you provide here?
Yeah, we offer all kind of touristic attraction. So I work here as a tour guide, a driver, a dive master also.
Do you offer full-day tours of maybe island hopping or snorkeling or diving?
Yeah, we do a couple tours. Our most popular one is a mangrove tour. It's a full-day tour that includes lunch at Punta Gorda. And also we do a 3-beach hopping day. So it's very nice to discover a couple beach. There are some local secret spots to hang out.
What is the price of the full-day tour?
Oh, the full-day tour is $120.
Okay, that sounds really good. Well, are you excited to enjoy the table experience here?
We came here a couple times already and it never disappoints, and it's always nice to be around for the sunset, of course.
Oh, I forgot that you've already come here before, so that's awesome that you can come again and enjoy it with us to have this experience together. High five! The good stuff has arrived. Gracias, thank you. Have here, Patricia. This is some French word that I don't know. It's like red something in French. Very tasty. So I'm going to do something illegal when it comes to coming into the kitchen when someone's working. I wanted to get just a couple answers from you about the fusion type of food that you normally cook. What is your greatest influence?
Some of the Asian dishes and spices become the primary focus on a lot of the dishes. Tonight we're using a little bit of style from the Mediterranean with the fish, the way I've cut it and prepared it and seasoned it. So it's going to be a little bit more of a Mediterranean flair with it. And then we're doing a puree, which is a combination between a French puree and a little bit of American style because of the potatoes that we're using. We have a, an Idaho potato, but then we're taking it and going to turn it into a more of a French puree. And then our spring vegetables have a little bit of everything in it. So it's the fusion part of it.
Awesome. Let's check out those potatoes that you just mentioned here. We're just about ready to start the service. Could you tell us what exactly are we going to be looking at here?
Yes, so we get a chilled avocado soup with Thai chili shrimp.
It's looking pretty splendid. Is there something unique about this dish?
Yeah, I think you have avocados who come from the property, so it's a treat-to-table dish.
And is this a very standard dish in Roatan and Honduras?
No, it gets his inspiration more in Mexico, but you had a lot of avocados in Honduras, so why not try to reproduce?
So this is basically a unique fusion or even new dish here created.
Yeah, exactly.
Salud. So we are just about to jump into the main dish here, and we have quite the spread.
We get a puree, potato puree, and in between a French and an American puree.
Okay, and moving over to the vegetables.
Vegetable mix, inspiration Asian style.
Excellent. Here we have some corn, right?
Yeah, corn in butter and tomato sauce. We're more like in Mexico this time.
Great. And then going over here to the fish.
So the fish, we have a red snapper and a yellow snapper. And we are more in the Mediterranean with the bay fish, really light and tasty.
Right, so we have Mediterranean style flavor, and then these are locally caught fish, right?
Exactly. Here in Polytelebite, we work with some fishermen.
So we are just about to start the main dishes here, but is this the way that you serve your food for the customers that come in here, Jeff?
Sometimes we do. This one here is one of our friends and family style. So if somebody wants a family style dinner, this is how we plate it and present it and everything else. A lot of times people want to pick out their own dishes and every plate will be more restaurant style service. But if somebody wants to have family style dinner, This is how we do it at the table.
Family style is the best way to get a little piece of each different dish so you don't have to just stick with the one flavor of the one thing you asked for, right?
Exactly.
All right, let's dive into this. So we are about to start the last course of this 4-course experience, correct? And what do we have in front of ourselves right now?
So here we have a burnt cheesecake, Spanish style.
Spanish style cheesecake. Is there a certain place this recipe came from?
Yes, that came from Le Coq et la Mule. It's a restaurant in Lyon and now in Roatan. And I was working there and I got the privilege to have that recipe.
Oh, fantastic. Is this basically your specialty here?
Yes, I also do tarts, fruit tarts, but this is one of the specialties.
Excellent. Well, I'm very excited to try it out. Let's take a look. Is there something special about this type of cheesecake that you have here, Sofia?
Yes, actually it's a manchego cheesecake, so it's almost goat cheese.
Well, it looks fantastic. Let's go ahead and jump in on this last course of our 4-course delight here. It has a type of sauce or a jam included, correct? What is the jam that we're seeing here?
We had a guava jam. Guava.
A local guava jam here from Honduras. Very good. Yum, yum, yum.
Now you know what fusion is.
Well, this was a fantastic fusion experience here. Now that we have finished our 4th course, this amazing burnt cheesecake, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for let us experience the table here. And if you're interested in making your reservations on their social media, Facebook or Instagram, I'll have that in the description below. And guys, I'll see you in the next one. Hasta la próxima.